Lovely welcome to this third transmission of the gene keys, this time with the second gene key of the Siddhi of unity, the gift of orientation and the shadow of dislocation. For the second gene key, the codon ring is the ring of water, and the other one in the ring of water, there are only two in the ring of water, in the codon ring of water, is the 8th gene key and of the gift of style. And the programming partner is the first Siddhi. So this is a very heavy transmission because it's one of the 4 primary gene keys. So because like the first and the second and the 43 and the 63 and the 64 is like the beginning and the end of the gene keys transmission, and they are like the primary gene keys. And the first gene key is the gene key of the Siddhi of beauty. So to start into this one, we go directly together into the shadow, and I, as always, read some extracts, bring my own experiences to the table, and also talk about the limiting beliefs, how we can let go of them in the combination with like this gene key. So the shadow is dislocation, as I already told, and it's like as you see it, so it changes. Very interesting. And there's an extract. The first one is: at no point in evolution has anything ever occurred that was not a part of a huge interconnected plan. This is the truth that resides within the feminine principle. It is the binding force for all the seemingly disparate cells and events within existence, and in this sense it represents the great motherly embrace that pulls us all into a single unity. Your personal resonance to this created truth of our unity determines the overall frequency passing through your DNA. Whether you believe it, deny it, wish for it, or embody it, the truth does not change. So this second gene key is the feminine part, and the first gene key is the male part in the gene key transmission and in the consciousness aspect. So it's like it's also the codon ring of water. That means the water, the ocean is like the feminine, and the first gene key of beauty is more like the fire that manifests and creates something into the physical world. Another one what's written here: when you feel lonely, cut off, afraid, or dejected, you have never actually lost your way, it just feels that way. That is very important, because the dislocation and these negative beliefs also within, it's like you, in a funny way, you empower your disempowerment, or you kind of reinforce like to be afraid of something, and this is all that is the shadow about. And it shows if you want to continue doing it, it's a sign, or if you wish to have another creation and another experience in life. Another one from the extract from the book: there is not a single moment in your life that is not perfectly in harmony with all creation. It's all a balancing act from the negative pole to the positive pole, and by experiencing also the negative, we know which parts we don't want to experience anymore, and then we can adjust it and keep in the neutral spot. We have now attained our zenith as thinkers and are prepared for another great leap, the leap into a new biological awareness rooted in the nerve ganglia of the solar plexus. You have to understand where you have come from if you are to see where you are going. And where you are going is into the awareness of the unity and oneness of all beings. The fear that we are going in a bad direction comes from this second shadow. It is because we now see ourselves as separate from nature that we feel this great collective fear. Our perception dislocates us from the truth. So it's really the perception and the beliefs we have built up that make us believe that we are separated, we are dislocated, we just like a division, we are separated from all that is, from, if you call it God, or whatever you wish to call it, that the feeling of you are just yourself and no one cares about you. And the beliefs are very, very tricky and very nice to make you think like that. And that is the funny part. And it's always important to remember that each of us is more powerful than our beliefs because we have created them. So this is so important already in this shadow state to just remember that. Another extract from the book. The second shadow allows you to witness your own helplessness as you seek to escape the feeling of dislocation and loneliness. As soon as you enter deeply into this shadow world, or in this shadow's world, with your full and honest awareness, it magically appears to change. That is really the point. The more we also in this shadow and we really observe it and we see like, okay, this is something actually I'm not so happy to experience anymore. Another one from the book. At the shadow frequency, the masculine always comes first, which becomes the way of distrust, separation, and force. The feminine approach, however, is based on unity, surrender, and trust, which are hallmarks of all higher frequencies. Furthermore, one of the translations for this hexagram known as kun is the word field. This is beautifully apt word to describe the second jinki because it represents the universal field in which we live. To move in harmony with this field is to be oriented, and to move out of harmony with the field is to be disoriented and dislocated. So that's all about is we feel, it's very simple, we just feel disconnected from nature, from the field. And the higher we go in frequency, the more connected we feel in that. Let's go into the two natures. There's the repressive is lost. Repressive is always the internalized, the passive one. And lost is, in the case of the represented nature, being lost, it describes the state of being out of alignment with one's true universal destiny. So we are just lost in the mandatory things of our negative and limited beliefs that won't make us believe still that we're separated and the way we are handling things is the correct way. And we're just like this physical body, and when we die, like everything disappears and nothing continues going on. And that's why we feel lost. So our true destiny is to awaken out of our selfishness to our universality. That's the point. The reactive nature is like the more aggressive, the outside, the projecting one is regimented. The reverse pole of this shadow is the enforcement of an external rhythm or structure over the top of life. This stems from deep anger that has never been resolved. So it's like an anger we put out into the world. We have some inner, like there's some force, some strength, and we put it out to others, like blame and we just push it away from us. Then the true meaning and purpose of life is only to be found within one's heart, in the mystical experience of moving in perfect synchronization with all that is. So that's about it. So we go into the next state, and I fall asleep again here, my legs somehow. It's very, very special. While we go into the gift orientation, it's written mineral magnetism. At the shadow frequency, you experience this orientation, whereas you begin to reach into the gift dimension, you become reorientated. Like you're reoriented. It's like you, from all of this separateness, you slowly move more into like being more into your center, and you experience like more that you definitely are, you can never be separated, because while you exist, and that you watch this video is a proof that you exist, like you can never be separated from anything. And so it's just like our beliefs that make us believe that, funnily enough. Perhaps you started going to a therapist who helped you to see aspects of your shadow, which in turn began to change your decisions and therefore your life. That could be one example of how you turn from the deep disorientation into a more reoriented way, and you see like, oh wait, there's something else that I have just forgotten, I have lost the orientation to. Perhaps you have discovered a great mystical system or teacher who catalyzed this process. That's how it happened for me also. However, actually I have also been to a therapist for myself. It's like now it's like about 10 years ago, I was like for a year at a therapist, and this was really helping me in a sense. Also really good point where I was very deep into my pain, into my lostness, into my self-pity and little self-worth and all of this combined. So this is actually how it happened to me. I was also at a therapist for a year, and then I went at like 5 years later, I get to know a mystical system and a teacher that really helped me to catalyze this process immense. And after that, I get to know also the Gene Keys system, which was even more magical in a sense. So it was a really good build-up for me. Perhaps it happened as a result of personal crisis, or perhaps it just spontaneously occurred as a complete surprise to you. The point is that all humans' life follow the same archetypal patterns laid down inside your DNA. Evolution itself is drawing you inexorably along the path towards awareness of your unity and oneness. So either like you have so much pain that you just go to see someone, like a psychotherapist, or it just unfolds in a way like you get to meet a mystical teacher and you really get inspired by him and motivated, and you're saying like, wow, I am also able to be like him. It's like just a mirror in a sense. So one of the key experiences that people have is an increased feeling and occurrence of synchronicity. Synchronicity is the direct manifestation of the gift of orientation. Synchronicity in another way is also from your higher mind. You have the physical mind and the higher mind, so this is directly coming from the higher mind that is in a higher frequency, a higher vibration, that is sending you different synchronicities to be guided in your day also what to do. As your awareness begins to operate at its highest biological level through the solar plexus system, so you fall into the easier rhythms of life, like breathing out and in. Everything is like a dance, a balance, passion, and everything working out just in balance, and you are in a neutral area in a sense. You no longer feel dislocated, but begin to experience life in a more and more magical dimension, like the synchronicities, for example. The positive ones, or like the ones that empower you, because there can or could also be synchronicities that empower like the negatives, like you always see like the bad parts up, and you reinforce like this negative belief. So it's so important to always remember which part you want to express in now, at this moment. One of the other indicators of your rising awareness is to be found in the 8th gift of style, what I told before, because through the chemical family known as the ring of water, this 2nd gift shares a strong genetic link with the 8th gift, which presents a new and original way of living. You live original, you are not copying someone, you inspire yourself and you create something totally exquisite and extraordinary. Another one from the gift, the 2nd gift has a special role within your DNA in that it creates a kind of attractors field around you. It not only unifies the microcosm with the macrocosm, but it also unites matter and spirit. The attractors field is also in the Venus sequence of the Gene Keys. When you move in, the first is the attractors field. So it, in a sense, has also a stronger relationship with this 2nd Gene Key. In every human being, where there are certain minerals that have magnetic properties, and the 2nd gift concerns the chemical let's see, what was this again? Chemical compositions and the purpose of these minerals. These minerals in our body, and particularly those in our endocrine glands, appear to tell us how to live life in or out of harmony. For example, in the tissue of the pineal gland, like the 3rd eye, in a sense, biologists have discovered a ferrous chemical known as the magnetite. This mineral has been proposed as a key in linking electromagnetic activity to cellular function. In the fact that it has also been found in most animals suggests that all creatures have a built-in magnetic guidance system that keeps them in alignment with wider rhythms. It is through this magnetism that all life is linked, from the spin of an atom to the wheeling of the great galaxies. There's also like this, the birds, like they always know exactly where to fly, or maybe you have seen like this animal documentaries where there is no water for elephants or for some other mammal animals, and they have to move thousands or hundreds of kilometers from the desert to reach like some like place where they can have the fresh water. So this is how this works. They are connected to this magnetic field, and they just know where to go. They don't have to think about, oh, where's that water now, like we do. And they just know where this is going. The more you let go into the feminine yielding quality of this gift, the more universal power floods through you. It's like you are more in the flow mode, and that is like really one of the key messages of this 2nd Gene Key. It is through the 2nd gift that you can see the hidden agenda of life to bring all beings into awareness of their unity. And the oneness cannot be comprehended, only lived. It's like the oneness is, before going into the Siddhi of oneness or unity, oneness is really very magical, and in the highest sense has not even awareness. So the Siddhi of unity, or here in the book is also written oneness, unity, oneness, divine logic. The 2nd Siddhi describes the experience of enlightenment or awakening. At the Siddhi level, there is no such thing as duality. Duality is destroyed by a strange kind of divine logic. At this high-end level of awareness, mathematics works differently than on the mental level. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, but always makes 3. The only numbers that really exist in this Siddhi level are 1 and 3. 1 is 1, it is consciousness resting in its own nature. And that is very interesting. It's like this trinity. And we more and more move from this dualistic thinking of negative and positive. We more and more go into this triangle thinking And that is also where I'm writing a book about. That will be very interesting, very, very deep, and very, very nice. I'm so looking forward to this. Will probably be out next year. Let's see. Already writing good amount of the book. And so let's continue to check some extracts from the Siddhi. I mean, like, unity is really, you think like, okay, unity, I lose my individuality. But actually it's not like that. You always keep your individualized consciousness. And at the same time you are connected with like that unity, which reinforces your individualized consciousness. So it's like an empowerment. Only your negative beliefs or our negative beliefs want us to believe it's different, because those negative beliefs come from the physical mind, from like the thinking, the emotions and the belief, and they reinforce like that we are separated, like this ego structure. So oneness, unity is really just experiencing life more, how it really truly is, like what your true self is like. So those, when the one externalizes itself as a manifestation in form, it has not created duality but a trinity. Every duality is really a relationship, and every relationship is really a three. There is a man, a woman, and instantly there is also a couple. The relationship itself, it makes so much sense. And somehow, like, I also for a long time never have thought about this. It makes so much sense. In divine mathematics, the number 2 is always an illusion. It cannot logically exist. So oneness cannot be comprehended, only lived. Enlightenment is not an experience. This is a sentence to meditate upon like a Zen koan. If you see oneness as an experience to be attained, or that may one day happen to you, then you are caught within that straight line between the 2 points. The third thing is transcendence. It does not occur to you, rather it negates you. Ironically, transcendence does not take you away from life, as its name might suggest. It places you right into the heart of life, where you have always been. It unifies all opposites, ends all riddles, leaves all mysteries just as they are, and bring a sense of trust that cannot be described. One cannot even really use a word like trust to describe the Siddhi of unity, because trust suggests duality again, that there is somehow a truster and a trustee. So this is a lot of times what our ego wants to convince us, that we are in this trust and trustee, that we trust our disempowerment, or we trust our separation, and that is like when we are like entangled in this duality. And how to break free is to remember and to observe and to notice, wait a second, the duality is just an illusion. That's the point. So that there is something, a trustee and a truster, as I told. And this is a wonderful dilemma of the Siddhi stake, of this Siddhic stake. Also, the ancient Mayans, for example, believed in the year 2012 that the Earth will be directly aligned with the hub of our galaxy, which for them signified the birth of an age of high-end consciousness. That was interesting, because back in 2010 and 11, and then also the movie come out 2012, and everyone's saying like, oh, the world is like ending. It's so funny somehow, like when you see it again from like today, and then you just know, wait, it's just like the consciousness is being heightened, and what is being like less and less is the ego structure of the physical mind, and it's just unity kind of with all that is and consciousness. And there are also like this has also a lot to do with like the two 2027 is like the next high jump, and in the 55 Chinky you can also read a lot about this day. It has also to do a lot with that. Alright, this was like the second Chinky. Like, I'm happy to make this transition for you, this kind of contemplation with you together. In the descriptions below you find links to the blog I made about Chinkys, and also the direct link to Chinkys if you have not known it yet. And now there should also go some button up where you can watch like the previous Chinkys that I have recorded, and subscribing sum ups the channel and make a comment whenever you love the content, and it helps a lot to spread this into the world, because yeah, it's just a nice gift, this YouTube. Thank you very much. Have a great day, you're Dominic, and see you next time.